Welcome back to Triple Cross Cinema. To be honest, I don't know what episode number this is. It's not super important, I guess. We
Yeah,
only do these once every 6 months or so now that we've adopted this current year and then like rewind year alternating format, as we are doing the top 10 films of 2021 this time around. So, about
yeah,
6 months from now, you'll hear us talk about more modern films. Well, these are all modern films. You'll hear us talk about films from 2025 in a little bit, down the road. But today, 2021. I'm
yeah.
Mario, and here with me, as always, is Mario. I'm Wooper.
Yep, that's my catchphrase. Hey, I'm Mario. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right.
I assume you were talking to the audience there rather than to me, but I'm doing okay. I had attended a funeral last
Oh,
weekend.
mm-hmm.
Mario just got back from a trip
Yep,
across the ocean.
yep.
Uh,
And just getting very busy with my life.
oh, really?
uh, yeah, but yep. Still pretty good. Talking about the movie in 2021 though, it's just like uh, yeah. How you feel about the year in general, Cooper?
I really can't say. So
Yeah,
many tens of thousands of films come out, and I've only seen about 50 of them.
right.
Um,
I
I certainly watched a few that I thought were incredible.
mhm.
Um, yeah, that's all I really can say because I've only seen like a subsection of a subsection of all
Maybe
those movies.
yeah, maybe the cream of the crop though. So
Well, perhaps, but I'll tell you what my process is
yep,
for
uh-huh,
selecting what movies I want to watch as like a very amateur film enthusiast. I go on Letterboxd and I go to a particular year, and first I sort the year by most popular, and I go through a
mm,
couple pages and put down the ones that I want to watch, and then I sort by highest rated, and I go
mm,
through a couple pages and I put down the ones I want to watch, and I end up with about 45 films at the end of it, and that's really it.
mm,
I list them in alphabetical order, and I view them more or less in alphabetical order to avoid bias. Like I don't want to try to save any films that I think will be great for the end or watch them at the beginning of my viewing process. I want to kind of take it, like list the films that I want to see, and then more or less forget about them until it's time for me to watch them.
mm,
So I can
right,
kind of watch them with unclouded eyes. And that's really it,
mm.
so that's where I'm coming
That,
from, pretty much from a
that
place of ignorance, albeit enthusiastic ignorance.
yeah. Well, I don't think it's a bad lens at all to look at it. You like we often, it's especially the one who really enthusiast about movies, the cinephiles, so they say, are really more concerned about this movie have a lot of awards. This movies attend attend the fifth the Cannes Film Festivals and all that. This one win the Oscar, and some of that I just feel a little bit BS. So you know for you it actually free pure the way that you do it.
Yeah, well, I
Avoid
suppose that's very
so
charitable of you. Thank you.
you know. Well, speaking of 2021 though, I just say that this is the year after the COVID, so many films that get hold off during the 2020 get released this year. And you can see streaming platform become even more important part of the film distribution now. That some film were released online at the same time in, in as in cinemas. So that's the model that's I think continue to going on even to today. So like the windows between the film that released in cinema to the to when it's available online become much shorter now. They say that it's only like three to 4 weeks instead of 2 months or 3 months like previous before pre-COVID.
Right. I think that's great. I think a
Yeah,
shorter window is good for
yeah.
film fans
Just
in general. I'm sure that many
uh,
of the people who are kind of clinging to the traditional
Right.
you know, theatrical experience are probably against that shorter
Yeah.
window. Uh, and I can
I
understand their
yeah.
perspective, but I'm somebody who sits in my bedroom and watches
Mm,
movies for the most part, so it's beneficial for me at least.
yeah. I would say that people now less keen to go to cinema anymore. So that's one of the I think the thing that's most worry about. But if you can see other means to watch the movie and even easier to do it than like going to the cinema. Then I can understand why.
Yeah. I mean, can
My
I'm sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
I by you I mean people like I also haven't really gone to cinema for the last few years just because like the comfort of watching the stuff that you can find easily on the comfort of the sofa. So
Yeah.
I can
A-
totally see that.
And there's also the fact that most of the films that I'm interested in watching are,
Hmm.
not wide release movies. They're foreign films or,
Yeah,
they're independent films that I would have to drive into the city, into like
yeah,
Washington, D.C. I live about an
yeah,
hour from the U.S. Capitol. And
yeah.
I would have to make a trip into the city. And I'm really not a city person.
Mm,
I don't like driving at night. I don't like driving on, really busy, densely populated streets.
mm,
Um,
mm,
of course, there are many wonderful benefits to living in cities, especially having to do with diversity of experience and really delicious food and a sense of community, like larger community, I guess, and all
mm,
that. But I really like being at home
mm,
and watching movies on my monitor, and especially like being able, if the subtitles that I'm watching with aren't very good, being able to go to
mm.
like opensubtitles.com or .org or whatever it is and finding a
Yeah,
better version and applying it to my video file and being like, that's better, because
yeah, yeah.
that really does bug me. And one of the films that I'm going to talk about that's on my top 10 list was actually, I have a story about it that's relevant to that
Wow,
particularity of mine, so
interesting, interesting.
in a good
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would say that 2021 is a year of recovery after like the shitstorm that that hit the world in 2020.
Yeah. Can you think, are there any movies that you can name in particular that were supposed to come out in 2020 but were
Oh,
delayed?
yeah, a lot. So there was the Cannes Film Festival in 2020 was uh it's not canceled, but it had like the special edition where like because people cannot attend to cast, they cannot like do in their normal format. So that's why the director, the Cannes Film Festival directors, actually urged some of the movie maker to not release that year and onto the next year. So most uh particular one is Annette, who I think was supposed to release in 2020 and then get pushed back to 2021. And
Say,
then
who is
there's
this? The name of a director or a film?
no the film Annette. So it's a musical from a French filmmaker, Leo Carax.
Okay. This is, and it was released in 2021.
No, yeah, yeah. It was ready in 21. It was ready in 2020. It was about to come in 2020, where it's got pushed back to 2021
Okay. I did
for
not watch this film.
all right.
One of the
It's
many
it
oversights, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, and there is some others film that was in Cannes as well. I think I can think of the French Dispatch. I think that
Wes
was
Anderson.
supposed to. Yeah, I think was supposed to in 2021. I'm not sure on that. Don't put me on this. I'm pretty sure about Annette. I'm pretty sure about the other films called Three Floors by the Italian filmmaker Nanni Moretti, which is got pushed back in 2021. And a film that I was about to mention as well that was like it was announced in 2020 Cannes, but they didn't get released until like the Sundance in 2021. So it but actually a 2021 release for me.
Okay. Well, you have been a big fan of movies and a festival goer for longer than I've
Yep.
been interested in
Yep.
the format. So I guess you would know, following it so closely, which movies were
Yep.
supposed to come out when and
Yeah.
which were
I did.
delayed and everything. Me, I'm just scrolling through a website and blindly pick, well, not blindly picking, but I mean more or less blindly picking. So
Mm-hmm.
we're coming at it from two different angles here. So our top 10 list may be quite different. We've done
Right.
this three times before in talking about films from 22, 23, and 24, not in that order.
Yep. Yep.
And only once did we have like a significant amount of overlap, I think.
Is that the 2022 where we
I
have where we
the
had the
When did
winners?
Tar come out?
Yeah, 2022.
Okay, yeah, I think that year we may have had four films overlapping.
Right.
And the other 2 years maybe two apiece, something like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
So we'll see, how harmonious our
Yeah.
selections are this time around.
Yeah. I would say that it's actually fair enough. Like even with anime, we do have some overlaps, but like we have like a very small numbers compared to movies.
No,
And
a larger number, don't you think?
in anime,
Oh, you mean like the
yeah,
number of anime that are produced?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's much smaller.
So and with movies, like it can really go either way. Like some of the movies that Wooper really enjoy and I haven't watched. So like and a lot of that. So I think that I would make an educated guess to say that we are this time we also will have like two or three films that we have in common.
It could be zero, I mean, I know at
Hmm.
least one film on my list is not on your list because you told me it was too long. You
Oh,
probably know which one I'm talking about.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
You
All right.
don't?
All right, we set that for the surprise.
Okay. So how do you want to do this? Whoever goes first
Uh,
is,
all right.
you know.
I do have one honorable mention.
Oh,
How about you?
I suppose I can whip one up real quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
You
this
can
one
just
was
go
yeah.
ahead and do yours, I guess, since you had it ready.
All right. This one is actually my number 10 until I realized that I missed out the actual number 10 on my list. So I just like shit. I just I just gotta pull that other one to number 10 and push this one out of the slot. So like this unlucky one get slapped out of my list at last minute. So let's go with that. My Hanum, oh my god, oh god,
Your HM.
honorable,
There
yeah,
you go.
honorable mention is Flea. It's a documentary,
Okay,
an anim,
I have seen Flea.
yeah, an animated documentary. So it's about this guy who his name is Amin, and it's not his real name, but he recount his childhood in Kabul. Uh, his family escaped from Afghanistan and the difficult journey that eventually brought him to Denmark. I love the use of the animation. And this is the one that I also mentioned that it get released in 20. It get mentioned in 2020, but it's never got like a debut release until 2021. So that's why I still include it here. So the use of the animation allow Amin to tell his story while protecting his identity and while also visualizing memories and emotion that would be very difficult to show in traditional documentary footage. So I really like how they employ the animation technique into the story, and it actually tell a very intimate but I would say like universal story about immigrant, and that this is a film that I can relate a lot to.
Hmm. Okay.
All right,
So
do
you're
you
number
have one?
11, we might
So
say.
to speak, yep. Or 10B.
All right, I just pulled up my I'm struggling against my computer right now.
Oh, good.
Okay, whatever. I'll wing it. I have I tend not to pick films for my honorable mentions, but
Mm-hmm.
rather actors or or performances or something like that because I just like the number 10. I want my 10 picks to kind of stand alone.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
I had to, I haven't given it much thought, but if I had to pick an actor or actress who
Yep.
I wanted to honor with an honorable mention,
Yep.
I think it would be Francois Lebrun, who plays the elderly Elle in Vortex, the Gaspar
All right.
Noé film.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Um, so this is a film that was very slow paced,
Mm-hmm.
and as a result, I didn't struggle to watch it or anything. I was engaged the whole time, but I could feel myself wanting to look at a clock
Yep.
from time to time, like wondering how much time was left in the movie. That's not,
Mm.
necessarily uh, a strike against the film, but when I watch a movie, I do prefer to be like completely immersed for the duration.
Yep.
However, I think the slow pace of this film really worked well with the direction and the performances,
Yep.
as it deals with elderly people moving towards the ends of their lives and doing
Yep.
so, in a fractured relationship. I mean, even the presentation is fractured because
Yep.
the screen is split
Mm.
in
Yep.
in two halves, and on one side is Francois Lebrun, who's playing the
The wife.
wife in a
Yep.
to Dario Argento's
Yep.
husband. And it's I don't know anything about his work, but apparently he is a director.
Dario
Like
Argento. He's
yeah,
like he's a legend. He actually the one who responsible for horror movies. A lot of good horror movies come from his work. Suspiria. Have you heard of that film?
I know that was recently remade, wasn't it?
Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
haven't I haven't I've neither seen the original nor
He's
the remake.
anyways. He's a horror master. He's a horror legend. So you know.
Interesting that he was
Mm,
selected because this is
mm,
a horror movie in a sense.
yep.
Because you're watching two people in a kind of a broken relationship
Mm,
headed towards the end of their lives in not particularly dignified fashion,
mm-hmm,
and they're also doing so, in poor health. And Elle, the character of Elle, played by Francois Lebrun, is
mm-hmm,
suffering from dementia,
mm,
and her performance is so like measured and impactful, and the pauses that she takes and the muttering of phrases under her breath so that people have to ask her to repeat herself and
mm,
her desire. She says things like it would be better if I were dead, or or just saying no over and over,
mm,
like in defiance of someone who she has lived with but does not recognize anymore. And like the way that specifically her eyes kind of dart from place to place as though she's trying to get her bearings and understand where she is and who she is. Um, I found the performance to be extremely engrossing
mm-hmm.
in a movie that sometimes tested my patience. I feel like she functioned as the sort of the rock that I could cling on to as an audience member. So I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to give her a little bit of praise for that.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the first film from Gaspar Noé that you watch?
Yes, I'm aware of his reputation. Most of his films are a
Yeah,
little bit more,
history.
let's say, dynamic
Right. Yeah,
as compared
yeah.
to this one. So it's an interesting shift. I might even have a
Mm.
greater appreciation for this movie, or a lesser
I,
one, who knows, if I had
yeah,
seen, his the rest of his filmography
yeah,
beforehand. But I still
yeah,
found the film to be pretty impressive in isolation.
yeah. I watched most of his stuff, so he's the one that impressed me a lot. Like
Hmm.
his movie hit up. presentation is very dark, very gritty, but like you cannot take the eye off this the screen. So he yeah, I have so much respect for his work, but sometimes it's not in a good sense as well. He tend to go big. He tend to be very bold. So this one is actually, like you said, uh, an internship in his style, because this one is very slow and very like unfussy, especially except for the split screen which we see for the whole movie. It actually is his least attempt to impress, and actually it worked out for the best. It worked out for like for the sake of this movie.
Hmm. Okay.
All right,
Good to get a
let
perspective from someone who has more experience with his work.
yeah. Well, I say that I can go to the top 10 first. I think last time that I go it last, so this time we just kind of switching a little bit. I
Okay.
will go to the top 10 first, so that you will have like the final say of the number one. So that's
Well,
gonna be
I'll
interesting.
be the I would resist the term final say, as I think, of course your
Yep,
number one pick
yep,
is going to be
yep,
as quote unquote important as mine. No
yep,
less, no more.
mm, mm, yep. All right, ready to go to the top 10?
I'm ready. I'm
Yes,
interested.
everyone.
What do you got?
All right. My number 10 is At the Young by Nada. I think he's a Hawaii filmmaker.
Okay. I did see this. I have
Yeah.
seen After Young.
So At the Young is a science fiction drama. It's set in a near future world where families can purchase android companions to help care for the children. So this particular android named Yang suddenly stopped functioning. The family tried to their best to repair him, and in the process, he discovered the hidden memories inside Yang's system. So I really like the concept of this movie. So it's set in the near future, and it says so much. It not showy. It says so much about like the present day as well. So it had the reflection on the human or technology relationship, which I always like. I think it's like the Black Mirrors, one of the Black Mirrors episodes. The story raises a question about like the role of AI in the family life, and whether machine can like form a genuine emotion connection with humans. It also an exploration of memory and identity, where like how memory shape the personal identity, and even like for the artificial being like Yang. So he has some experience, his thoughts of experience that reveal that like emotional can exist within the AI. And then there is a theme of grief and loss, where a hit malfunctions just force the family to confront the unexpected feeling of loss, even though that uh and just showing like how deeply that he had become part of their life, and even though that he a machine, there's still like a process of grief where he stop function. So like it's a film that's set in the future, but it speaks very much about the human connection. And I really love the concept, and like the story behind that. So After Yang is my number 10,
Okay.
and the one
Yeah.
sorry, and the one that kicked out Flea at the
Yeah.
last minutes.
Right. I watched both of those movies. I don't know which one I would put above the other.
Right.
So I'm glad you made the decision instead of me.
Okay.
I did see After Yang. I kind of, I mean, I didn't hate it. Um,
Hmm.
I will say that, well, first of all, as for the film itself, one of the things I liked best about it was the involvement of the child that, because the
Right.
family who had this helper droid or whatever the terminology is in the movie, like the
Mm.
personal assistant.
Mm.
They have a young daughter, and she has to grapple with the quote unquote death of
Yeah.
her caretaker and her
Brother.
friend.
Yeah.
So I especially I was especially interested in that element of the film.
Mm,
Um, but as for films that deal with technology and especially AI
mm,
in general, with with the real world rise of AI, especially over the last, let's say, 2 years, 3 years,
mm.
I can feel myself becoming less interested in
Right.
that theme because I'm not an AI optimist.
Yeah.
I don't use AI. The only time I've ever
Mm,
used it was when I needed to because I had like a physical disability.
mm,
When I, sprained both my wrists and I needed to clean up some like stuff that I had written, I would like dictate it to the computer and have an AI do just the spelling and the grammar and stuff.
mm-hmm.
Um, Apart from that, I don't like where the tech is headed. And
Mm,
as a result, I am less receptive to those sorts of stories than perhaps I, was in the past or would be otherwise. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to like write them off entirely. Especially since there are so many, like me being a latecomer to film, there are so many movies that I can go back to that would have to deal
mm,
with people's conception of AI in the past that might be
mm.
interesting to watch, with a through a modern lens. But I don't know. I don't think the topic really appeals to me very much, like at a base level.
Yeah. Yeah. So you wouldn't enjoy Black Mirror, right?
I've seen so Black Mirror. I remember when Black Mirror first came out, like the first season, and how everyone was so excited about it. And I watched some Black Mirror episodes, and there was one in particular that I really liked. I mean, I'm not, I wouldn't seek out Black Mirror in the present day, but I think
Mm.
it's cool. It's an interesting, um, what would you call it? Miniseries,
Yeah.
anthology.
Anthology. Yep.
The one Black Mirror episode that I really enjoyed was one. I suppose this is going to be an early one, where everyone like lives in their own little tiny room, and they interface with people only like through screens,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they get stuff like delivered to their little
Yeah.
cubicles where they live through, I guess, through a series of tubes or something. I don't remember exactly the details of how stuff is delivered to people, but it was like a super isolationist take on the future where you don't actually see anyone face to face ever.
Mm,
You
mm,
only interact with them through cameras and monitors and things. And I forget how the plot evolves from there, but I was really
yeah.
struck by the presentation of how that sort of future might look.
Yeah. Is that star the main actor from Get Out?
I
Daniel.
don't remember.
Right.
I
Yeah.
remember the main actor in Get Out, but I don't remember who starred
Yeah.
in that particular episode of Black Mirror. I only have the vaguest recollection of it, and that it struck me.
Hmm. Oh, that's right. Yep. I can see that. I can totally see. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, for what it is.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, that was like a long tangent. Um,
Oh, all
and
right.
yeah, an
What's your
interesting
number 10?
film. And I remember learning a little bit about the director, like looking him up, the Kogonada or something
Yep.
like that. He's got the kind of mononymous, like the one word name,
Hmm.
and learning that he was like an online film reviewer and like uh, and made a transition into directing, and I think that's kind of cool. So,
Hmm. Yep. All right. What's your
I
number
guess I'll
10,
do
Wooper?
my number 10. Here we go. I've actually got to step up and do something here. I am going to give it to The Worst Person in the World
Right.
for my number 10 by
Yep.
Joachim Trier.
Yep.
I just watched this a couple days ago, so my memory of it is fresh. Some of these other films I haven't watched in months, so we'll see
Yep.
how I do when it comes to those. But
Yep.
I was just interested in the presentation of modern romance, I guess, in
Hmm.
The Worst Person in the World. Um, the the particular division of the film into like a prologue and chapters and an epilogue,
Hmm.
as well as the use of a narrator who kind of repeats what the characters are saying to one another to the
mm,
audience. So it's as
mm,
though the dialogue is doubled, but only being delivered by one person in the narrative, and then the narrator is layered over top. The effect of like the film being very clinically divided into chapters like that, and the narrator serving that function, kind of makes things feel distant or mechanical,
mm,
which is a way that I think a lot of people probably feel in the modern era, and that feeling probably has seeped into like the dating scene and people's opinions about romance. Um, so I kind of liked the way that the film was commenting on that through its form.
mm,
Um, but it's not all cold and calculated. There's also the scene where time freezes and Yulia runs to go see her, her crush. She's in a relationship with another guy, but she with with her partner, but she has met this other guy at a party. And the party scene itself, where they're like flirting with one another and walking right up to the line of cheating but not crossing it, I thought was magnetic.
mm,
I really loved that getting to know you portion of the movie.
mm,
But then, of course, there's also the scene where she runs to go meet this guy who she met at that party that she crashed earlier in the movie, and everything is frozen as she's running, and of course, the running to go meet your crush or your lover or whatever in a romance film is a well-worn trope, and introducing the freezing of the world around her as she runs is kind of an interesting twist on it. Even though I'm willing to bet even that has been done before.
mm,
So I was captured by her her involvement in um, romance. I guess there's probably a better way to put that. As well as the way the film morphs towards the end, where it becomes less about um, love and more about love that's been lost and death in the wake of that loss. Um, her not the guy who she's met at this party, but her her original partner, who she
mm,
gets together with in one of the early chapters, since the film is divided into these chapters. He is diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passes away as a result. And
mm,
before he passes, he reunites with Yulia uh, and just tells her plainly that he considers her like the love of his life, and that he has so much regret that she kind of helps him to work through, but isn't totally, she can't be what he wants her to be. Um, I like the way that the movie transitioned from being more about modern dating to being about the end of someone's life, because really when you contextualize romance, it really is just part of our very short existence on earth before death. um, it kind of pales in comparison almost. So I felt like the film had some interesting things to say about life and love and death. And I will say I could kind of feel the strings being pulled from time to time, so I wasn't always completely involved in the movie. But I thought the performances were good. The direction, the style of the film, the form of the film was interesting, and so I wanted to give it a spot on the list.
yeah. I remember there's a moment in the conversation where the ex-boyfriend realized that he was in cancer. So he sit down with her, like in I think in like one of the old house, and then he just like just thinking about his past, about his life so far, and then he talked to her that like you are the love of my life,
Yeah,
and at that single point of time I was like, yeah, but he was he it is from the perspective of like the 40 years old who who faced that for the first time to say that, so it actually just captured the right moment of the right time, because if he gonna live until 70 or 80s, I doubt it that he's gonna see her at that length again, which like you are the love of my life, or that, so I just think it's uh very specific, the way that he feel that, because he just think about his dad now, and he was actually very young to be dying,
Hmm.
so it's all the confusing and all that.
Yeah, it captures his desperation, you
Yep,
know,
yep,
to
yep.
go
I agree.
back to a time when he was still healthy, and
Yep.
that's what in that moment in that conversation, she is to him a representation of that point in his life. She's not just Julia. She's um, you know she's kind of serving in his mind as the part of him that was happy and was healthy and wasn't about to die tragically.
Mm, yep. All right. So I get to my number 9.
All right.
All right. It's the films that debuted in Cannes. And this one is Compartment Number 6.
Compartment number 6. I've not heard of this.
Right. This is the film from Finland, but it's actually about the road trip that's the main character take from Finland to Russia. So she on the train. She feel very sad and blue, and she meet a stranger, and they kind of like they hated each other at first, because he's like a typical Russian, who he actually acted in Anora.
Oh,
He's
he's
the
that
boy.
guy, the bald guy
Yep,
or the
that's
kid?
him, the bold guy. So
Okay. Cool.
he it's the first time that I watched him, and he actually really magnetic in this film as well. So so anyway, about the movie, so they actually hated each other gut, but they form a connection during the trip across the continent, and that's where most of the story take place. So it in the train, it's just a confined setting in the train compartment, where they just like they kind of like have a minimalist storytelling style, where the narrative focus on small conversation and everyday moments rather than any dramatic events. It's creating a quiet and realistic atmosphere, and because the story take take most of the time in the train compartment, it actually intensify the interaction between the characters and highlight the emotion distance at the beginning. So you see a lot of moment where like they're just quiet, they just looking at the outside. uh it's a time where like they by themselves, so they truly really reflect their loneliness, and like their uh the part that they have in their life at the moment, they can be able to reflect on that. So it's also a film that like explore the loneliness and human connection. So uh two very different people gradually form a bond during the long and uncomfortable journey, and emphasizing the importance of empathy and understanding. So yeah, I just love this one, just in the fact that like it's very minimalist, but it's also very just a reflection of where you are at in your life, and like all of these strange encounters can be like can become meaningful if you know if you really uh be truthful about it. So a really good film for me, the one that
Interesting.
yeah, I think I watched back in 2021 or 2022, and it's still legal with me till now.
Oh, that you saying that reminds me to ask you, were
Right.
there any movies that you watched like presently, either, in 2025 or 2026, that you hadn't
Mhm.
seen before that you decided to add to your
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
list?
That's a few. So I catch up with like I would say 10, 15 movies for in prepare for this, and some of that make it way here. Yes.
Nice. Yeah. When I revisit movies from this time period, and I don't know, let's say 10, 15 years, something like that, I'm sure that I will discover some great
Mhm.
films that I'd never heard of before. You know,
Yeah.
there's always
Maybe
more
try.
to there's always more to see.
Yeah, and maybe try this one as well.
Yeah,
Compartment
I'm
number six.
interested, is particularly because you said that the entire film or the vast majority of the film takes place on this train.
Right.
Because films that have just the one setting and kind of confine the characters together sort of force them to interact with one another and to um, you know
Yeah.
and they're less about the environment and more about the individuals. Uh,
Mm.
which that can go one of two ways. Either it can bore you, or it can really capture you. Sounds
Yeah.
like this film was one that captured you.
So there is an interesting bit that a bit of a spoiler. So I don't want to tell you, but it's a funny bit.
Go for it. I'm sure it won't wreck the
All
movie
right.
for me.
All right, so it actually like when they first met, and this guy was really drunk in the movies, so he just kind of like, because they sit in the same compartment, he was just going on about, like, you are from Finland, right? So what to say I love you in Finland, and she say the word hasta vitu, which means fuck you in in Finland, and yeah, and yeah, so he tried to remember that word, but any case, in after the release of this movie in Cannes, people just walk by the director to say "Hasafitu," just like just as a reference it's to like to the movies, and he so basically they just say "fuck you" to to the directors.
Sounds like a very French thing to do.
It is, but it's actually really fun, and yeah.
All right. Well, I'll if I watch the movie, I don't think I'm going to hold on to that word. I'll leave that to other people.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Have you
Interesting
decided on
pick.
your number
Yeah,
nine?
I would be curious to watch that someday.
Right. Mhm.
I have not seen it.
No, no. What have you decided on your number six? Number nine. Sorry.
Oh yeah. So in saying that, Mario, for anyone listening, is referencing the fact that I did not have my list in order. I knew which 10 films I wanted to talk about, but I didn't have them ordered exactly. And I don't place a large emphasis on the order of these movies, but since that's our format, I did need to figure it out. So I do have my
Hmm.
number 9 here. It's
All right.
actually a Vietnamese film,
All right. Wow.
and a documentary. It's called Children of the Mist.
Uh, yeah, I know about this one.
Have you seen
Wow,
it?
complete. I have never seen it.
Okay.
I
Uh,
know about the content though.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that you had seen it just so that you could provide me, as a Vietnamese person with more context.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess that falls on me. So it's a documentary set in a rural village in northern Vietnam,
Yeah.
and the filmmaker, whose name is Ha Li Diem. I'm sure that I was not even close, uh, in pronouncing her name, but apologies for that. She set out. So she's Vietnamese as well, but she does not speak the Hmong language,
Yeah.
which the vast majority of the dialogue in the film is Hmong. So as she was filming, she didn't know the majority of the time what was being said. Um, and it's the film's chief subject, who is a preteen and eventually teenage girl named Z,
Mhm.
who kind of translates for her at just only a few points throughout the
Mhm.
movie. Um, but she didn't know when she began filming what sort of shape the documentary was going to take. And the shape that it eventually took in the 3 years that she was filming in this village was, a portrait of G's life
Yeah.
as she grew up and entered into like the custom of bride kidnapping,
Mhm.
where young women are kidnapped by the family of their prospective husband and are almost like held at ransom, held for
Mhm.
ransom. Uh, there's a strange mix of them being given freedom to
Do that.
navigate their community, but at the same time, there's the expectation that like a decision will be made about whether the marriage will happen or not. And there's like discussion of dowry and what kind of like livestock and like the amount of grain and stuff is going to be given to G's parents as a, in exchange for her hand in marriage. Um, it's I mean the film, the documentary is very like even-handed. It's very level. It doesn't judge these people for having this custom. Um, but as it goes on and it becomes more clear that Dee is uncomfortable with this arrangement that she kind of falls into as a result of her curiosity about a particular boy.
Mm.
Um, it becomes more and more like upsetting and even eventually like enraging to watch.
Mm.
Uh, at you know, at it's remarkable how even-handed the documentary is, because at a particular moment, the director, who's behind the camera, has to like take the camera off of her subject and like run to try to save her from being carried away by a
Mm.
bunch of people who are like holding onto her arms and legs and are trying to carry her off. Uh, her the father is an alcoholic and the mother has a very like complex relationship with her children, G especially. Um, where you can see that she loves her and doesn't want the same fate to befall her daughter that befell her as a girl.
Mm.
But it's so this practice is so integrated into this culture that like the children will play bride kidnapping. It's like a game that they
Mm.
play where they act
Wow.
it out among themselves.
Mm.
And I just thought the film was like a fascinating look at the way that human beings kind of ritualize and create culture and structures around our desire to procreate, essentially, like our sexuality, uh, because that's what marriage is. That's what all customs having to do with like men and women or just people, um, you know, forming like social bonds and unions. That's all like a very because we have like an evolved consciousness, relatively speaking, within the animal kingdom. So we create stories and mythologies and customs around our sexuality in order to, I don't know, like um, justify our behaviors, I think. And this
Mm.
movie really caused me to think about that very deeply. And it was also just a fascinating look at this rural village too,
Yeah.
and not and it was remarkably free of judgment. I felt some judgment as a viewer, but
Mm.
I think I was aided in viewing things more neutrally by the end of it, um, by based on the director's you know her her choice of footage. Uh, really interesting movie. I wasn't quite sure where to put it on my list, but I knew it had to be there. I knew it had to be one of the
Yeah.
10.
All right. Pretty good pick there. Just a bit of the context. So, this movie is set in the north, up north in Vietnam. So it's in Sapa, the place really I really want to go one day. It's in the mountainous part, so it border China, and the ethnic people Hmong
Yeah.
is uh, is part of like they both in China, in the southern part of China and the north of Vietnam. So actually, like it interesting where they actually can speak they speak the same language even though that they are technically two different countries. Um, the uh so this particular ritual, uh for what we say, I heard about that, but I never really like know it uh firsthand it, or even like see an example of that. So actually it's also good for me, good education for me to watch the movies. um yeah. Not much else I want to say. Is the ending clear of what she like what her fate is in the future?
The ending is clear on her immediate fate, but some comments that I read online
Yeah.
expressed like some dismay at what happened to her after the events of the movie.
Yeah.
And I purposely, in when I saw that, I was like, I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
Right.
because I mean there were just a few. Like I said, the film is very level-headed, but there were just choice moments during the movie where I was just angry
Mm.
at the injustice of what this teenage girl was experiencing.
Mm.
Um, and so I didn't want to look too deeply into it after I
Yeah.
saw the
That.
movie. But it's beautiful. Like you
Yeah.
said, it's in northern Vietnam, so it's in a mountainous area, and there are the title of the film is Children of the Mist. There are shots, where
Mm.
the filmmaker, the
You can
director, kind
see.
of climbs up part way up a mountain, and the
Right.
camera is just still, and you watch the mist roll in
Yeah.
upwards over the mountains, and it's just so. I mean, it's so interesting because this terrible, I'll say
Mm.
terrible practice exists in this part
Mm.
of the world, but the people there are people like any other. They drink,
Mm.
they have families, they have fun together.
Yeah.
They attend festivals, and the children go to school and um, you know, tell jokes and learn about things that inspire them. And there are some, it's you recognize when watching this film, of course, uh, yourself and
Mm.
your community and your life, um, even though it's on the other, like on the literal other side of the world from where I live
Yeah.
in America. So
Yeah.
I was just fascinated, I think, by the film.
Yeah. The sad thing about this film is that while it's very acclaimed overseas, people in Vietnam barely notice these films, because I think it's just the subject matter, and it just like it have no promotion
Mm.
for the film at all. So it just passed by, and people don't really like go to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Who wanted to go to watch the movie about the 12 years old girl who with some pretty old fashioned practice. So
Yeah. Oh, it's
it,
more than old fashioned, man.
yeah,
It
well,
is it's terrible.
conservative. Yeah, yeah. But
um
well,
but there, of course, there's like a current of humanity throughout the movie too. It's really special.
yeah. Yeah. Thanks for like bringing up to my attention again. I will definitely want to watch this one.
Yeah, it's not too long. I think it's just an hour and a half as well, so not too
All
bad.
right, all right. Let's go to my number 8 then.
Okay.
It's from my one of my favorite directors. So I think you can guess what movie is. It's the French Dispatch by Wes Anderson.
Okay.
So it's Wes Anderson doing his usual things. So this time he he present several stories from the fictional American magazine. It's the final issues of that, and each segment follow a different journalist that explore like different unique events and characters, and all come together at the end, where like you can see each of them each of the writer together, and the story that they represent. So they have the anthology storytelling structure, which I don't think he has ever done this before. Like in he touched on that in some form or another, but not like not a movie about three different stories like this one. So it also like he mixed a lot of style in there. So there's a section where it's in black and white. There are section then it shift into color. Is it from animation to live action? They have like different narrative style. So it just all together. It's just a very playful and uh very like interesting experience. And I get to see a lot of familiar faces. Like all of them. Have feel like like they just enjoy their time to be in the movie. So we have like uh Bill Murray. We have many witty dialogue. I don't even remember if Bill Murray was in there actually.
He
Anyway,
is. He's the editor of the magazine.
right. Yep. We have a lot of deadpan characters. So everything that I love about Wes Anderson, and I think the general consensus is that this one disappointed many of the user fans. But for me, I'm all for it. It's not on my top favorite Wes Anderson movies, but it's comfortably in the middle.
Okay. I did see this movie, so
Yeah,
being like an amateur film enthusiast, I am going backwards through the catalog of a lot of great directors. Since
yeah.
we are talking about films from the 2020s and kind of working our way forwards and backwards simultaneously, at least based
Hmm.
on our current method. So the French Dispatch was the second Wes Anderson that I ever watched, and the first was Asteroid City. Was it?
Astrosity.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So I will say I like the French Dispatch a lot more than that movie.
Right.
And my favorite part of it was, you might be able to guess, the animated sequence
Right.
towards the end of the third story, as it is kind of anthological. I really loved the Tintin kind of character designs,
Hmm.
and the backgrounds were beautiful. The car chase was astounding
Right.
in the animated segment. I loved how circular it was, and the moments of violence and the crashes and the airborne takeoff of the car, and it was I would love for Wes Anderson to direct a fully animated film. I know, of course, he's dipped his toe into stop motion a couple times, more than dipped his toe. I mean,
Yep.
he's gone in head first a couple times. But based on that little animated segment, which I thought was just delightful, I would love to see a fully animated, like 2D animated work from him.
All right. Yeah. The next film that we're gonna watch in his catalog is 2018, and this is another animated movie from him, The House of Dogs.
Yeah.
But it is stop motion, and yeah, I would say that Wes Anderson become a really great from good to great directors after he directed a fantastic metaphors, because I
Hmm.
think because he had to frame everything beforehand, so he is more confident of like framing and all of these device that fit into his style.
Yeah,
So
and I mean
yeah,
his style is extremely, like, I don't know, what
unique,
do you call it, mise en
unique.
scene,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
extremely heavy on that.
Mhm.
Everything is arranged like just so,
Yeah,
like just
yeah,
precisely.
yeah.
Uh, so that's it's I sometimes I bristle at that. Like I don't know whether I like that or not. Sometimes I don't like it at all. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
on the other hand, sometimes it's very pleasant and like eye catching and like pleasing.
yeah.
So it's I don't think he's bound to be one of my favorite directors, but the French Dispatch kind of improved my opinion of him. Not that my
Right.
opinion means all that much. It just made me more curious to see more of his work.
Yeah. I think his best was in the 2010s, where he had like a string of really good ones. But yeah, his previous like his earlier stuff are also pretty self-contained that you can get yourself into. So yeah. More to come
Okay.
for him.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
What
We've just hit the
next?
1 hour mark. So we've
Wow.
only gone through a couple films each. I'm going to speed up a little, try to talk a little
Right.
less. I say that every time and I almost never succeed, but I'll try.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. My number 8 is Benedetta by
Yeah.
Paul Verhoeven. Uh, so I would call this film like an exploitation movie. Uh, it's the sort of film where you watch it and you really enjoy it and you're very entertained by it and swept up in it, and then afterwards you kind of feel like you weren't supposed
Guilty.
to have liked it that much because it's there's a lot of like sex and nudity and rather than portraying it starkly, the film like, kind of leans into it, maybe a little too much. But that's kind of how I took the movie, just as entertainment. Um,
Mhm.
it's about a real life figure, Benedetta Carlini, who was a nun who eventually became an abbess at in a nunnery or abbey in Italy. Pescia, I think, is the name of the city. I think that's how you pronounce it, in the 17th century. So it's extremely gratuitous, um, to the point that there's like a Virgin Mary, there's a dildo in the movie in the shape of the Virgin Mary that
Yeah.
one of the characters uses to pleasure one of the other characters, like her lover. There's a lesbian relationship at the center of the film, and uh, I mean, when I saw that, I couldn't help but be entertained. Honestly, like it was exploitative, sure, but um, the film's very heightened. Benedetta has visions of Christ that are like the lighting is extremely theatrical, and the acting in those scenes is like a little, slightly over the top, maybe more than slightly. Um, and the fact that she seems to be like miracles occur to her and around her in over the course of the film. So the visions that she has kind of accompany that thematically, I guess, and they're uh, just so bombastic and so difficult to believe. Yet the film kind of steers you through the ridiculousness of it and finds like a sweet spot, I guess, that makes you wonder what's going to happen next. Like what ridiculous, offensive thing is going to unfold next in this story. Of course, this being set in the 17th century in Italy, there's a plague that breaks out that Benedetta, and the other members of her abbey, as well as the people of the city at large, have to deal with, and of course they turn to God in order to try to survive. And the way that she does it is so, like Benedetta in particular, her relationship to God is so like wholehearted. She is so devout, despite the ways that she, I suppose, sins throughout the movie. That you're kind of left with a statement that a person's sexuality is not a barrier between them and their God. I think that's kind of, if I have to take anything away from this movie that again I view mostly as entertainment, I would say that in the end she survives. She survives the plague, whereas a lot of the people who are trying to condemn her end up succumbing to it. And so I feel as though her survival and the fact that miracles surround her throughout the plot of the movie is kind of leaving the viewer with a message that whoever you love and however boldly you do it, um, it should not come between you and your God.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched the film a long time ago as well. My memory of this is a bit uh tickling at the moment. This is one of the movies that was supposed to release in 2020, but got back in 2021 as a request from the Cannes Film Festival directors, Thierry
Okay.
Fromos. So yeah, just want to add that.
All right.
All right. As we run out of time, I think I will just jump to my number seven.
Okay.
So we we
Hard
move.
film to talk about, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. We jump to one Anderson to another Anderson's, and that's it in my number seven, Licorice Pizza by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Right.
So I really like I think uh the content of this story. It's very unconventional romantic relationship between this guy who is several years younger than his love interest, and he's just barely he was a teenager when they met as well. But it also a coming of age story about youth and growing up. So the narrative follow the characters that they experience with different jobs, relationships, and ambitions. So reflecting the uncertainty and excitement of young adulthood. And even like this guy, he had like a lot of ideas about businesses, and it's just fun to see like how he jumped from one opportunity to another, and like it's not a linear story, but it split into different segments, and we see like how they deal with it along the way. One I think the one that's I remember the most is the one that like they have to go down the hill backwards, and
Yes.
they try their best to like not pump into anything, and it's actually very intense to us. And that's the whole thing about this movie. It's very fun to watch. The characters are very likable, even though like they're not really that likable in real life. Like I don't really want to talk to them in real life, for example. But
Yeah, because they
like
would try to sell you something.
yeah, they would. But like everything about this movie, like the relationship between the two of them. Alana, she's the professional singers in real life,
Yeah.
up hand.
She's a member of Hayam. Yeah.
Yeah, so great in this movie. So she's just a fight in this movie, and even Gary, who is the in real life, he's the son of one of the great lead actor.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know who you're talking about for some reason. Oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman, right?
yeah, that's him. And yeah, they both so great. I think this is both their debut acting, but they more than like hold, hold their own in this movies. So um, I would say like for all of the Paul Thomas Anderson movie, this one feels a bit lightweight compared to his other stuff, but still a really like really entertainment movie to watch.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen this one as well. I wasn't sure what to make of it, honestly.
All right.
Um, it certainly held my
uh,
attention.
I also want to say that the original name of this movie is Licorice Pizza, but Soggy Bottoms, which I think
Soggy
kind
bottoms?
yeah, but I think kind of like fit the movie much better. Yeah.
Soggy bottoms. Well, I mean, you might have a soggy bottom if you were sleeping on a waterbed and a
Yep.
hole
I
opened up.
think yeah. I think that's that was this that title referring to,
Okay.
but they decided to change it to Licorice Pizza.
Yeah. It's interesting though that they probably went away from soggy bottoms because it wasn't marketable, but
Right.
licorice pizza in and of itself is not a particularly marketable phrase.
Right.
You know, who wants licorice on their pizza? So
I
maybe
don't.
they tried to keep the same spirit.
Yeah, I think they do.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll move on to my number seven.
All right, let's do that.
So it's an anime film. I think I've had
Wow.
an anime film in most of the years that we've done this. You know, we've got
Yeah.
our other podcast. This is Triple Cross Cinema. We've also got Double Crossed Anime.
Yeah.
And this is a film that I've already talked about on that channel. So I'll be brief. This film is Fortune Favors Lady Nikuko, directed
Wow.
by Ayumu Watanabe. Um, it feels this movie. First of all, it's very beautiful the way that it captures its like seaside town.
Mhm.
Makes it feel like a place that you want to live. The main character Kikuko and her mother Nikuko live on a boat in the harbor of this town, and the the like the layout of the boat's interior and the way that they navigate it, and especially the way that Kikuko has to navigate it because her mother is a rather like plump woman. Um, is it just feels like a very lived in space, as does the restaurant. What do you call it? Like it's a grill, I suppose, where Nikuko
Uh-huh.
works. Um, there's just a ton of visual charm and personality to the movie that I really love, and
Mhm.
it the whole thing feels like a personal essay, an animated personal essay, I would
Mhm.
say, um, on Kikuko's part, because she has, it's about the difficulties that she faces at school when her friend group kind of splinters, and the the barrier, I guess, between her and her adoptive mother, as you learn as the film goes on that Nikuko is not her biological mother. Eventually, you learn about her real mother and what happened to her, and uh, the the isolation, I guess, that Kikuko felt at this realization, and um, the fact that her the fact that she belongs somewhere, the way that that is reaffirmed by the events of the movie, the conversations that she has with people older than her who value her and love her, are very moving, I would say. Um, there are a lot of there's a lot of wordplay and like little cutaways to illustrations of that wordplay throughout the movie as well. So even though it does get kind of heavy towards the end, there's always a little bit of levity. There's some humor, some comedy um, that keeps things light, keeps the tone of the film kind of buoyant and balanced. Um, and I just think it's very creatively presented and directed, and I would encourage, like anime fans who are primarily into Ghibli, and other big name works like Ghost in the Shell, Akira, um, perhaps the works of Mamoru Hosoda like Wolf Children and Girl Who Leapt Through Time. I would say you might, if you're interested in something off the beaten path, you might seek this film out, because it's got quite a lot of character to it that might pleasantly surprise you.
Yep, I agree with that. Um, this is one of like the very small films, like it even like with the anime fan, it's actually kind of small films. But it from a really respected directors, so I
Hmm.
don't know why, like it's not getting more attention than it has.
I
But
think it got like awards attention, but you know,
mm,
just
yeah,
not with the people who are mostly familiar with like bigger name anime.
right. And even like compare this film to films like Children of the Sea.
Yeah,
I
same
think,
same team actually, same
yeah,
creative team.
yeah, yeah. That's what I meant. Like even Children of the Sea gathered more attention than this one. So
Well, I can understand that because first of all, it was based on a manga.
mhm.
Um, what was it based on? Was the mangaka the same guy who did Ping Pong?
Is it?
I
Is it so?
think so.
I All right. I doubt it, but let me have a quick look.
Yeah, I'll let you look that up real quick. Um, Fortune Favors Lady Nikuko is based on a novel by Kanako Nishi. And she is not like she's not exactly a mainstream or like populist novelist. She is more her work is more intimate and small scale, I would say. So for Lady Nikuko, I think it makes sense that it's people didn't welcome it with arms like wide open, as they might for Children of the Sea, which was based on a manga
Yeah.
and
So
was
it
a
based.
huge visual spectacle. Like that film
Yeah.
is unbelievable looking.
Yeah. So it's the mangaka is Daisuke Igarashi, the one who create Little Forest.
So it's
And
not
no, it's
Matsumoto.
not.
Okay.
It's not Matsumoto. And witches, I have never heard of witches, but
What did you say? What was his first name?
the first one is Little For. Oh, first name is Daisuke Igarashi.
Oh, here I see him now. Um, Works Children of the Sea, Witches, Little Forest. Okay. Yep, I was wrong. Um, Maybe my mind went to Matsumoto because Children of the Sea is fairly obscure, and Matsumoto's
Mm,
work is also. I mean, Ping Pong is obviously a very direct series. It's just that he has kind of an obscure style.
yeah.
Uh, Sorry to mislead you, anyone listening to this. That's my fault.
All right. Let's go to my number six.
Okay.
Um, so I we move from the 70s of America to the 60s of France, and this one is the one that I just watched recently for in prepare for this podcast, and it's the second film that I watched that feature abortion, or basically like a pro-choice of that woman.
Okay. Yes, I also
So
saw this movie.
all right. So the other movies that I want to mention is Ligu, the Sacred Bond. It's about a girl who like get an unwanted pregnancy, and her mother had to come up with a way to like to get it aborted. So this one is about the girl herself. Her name is Anne. Oh, the film is happening,
Hmm.
and this one is about herself, a university student in France who become pregnant and desperately seek an abortion at the same time when at the time when the procedure was illegal in France. So interesting to see, like yeah, there was a time, and even I think even now in some other country, the abortion is still deemed as illegal.
I'm sure in
Uh,
many countries. Yeah.
yeah. So we get to the 1960 in France where it was illegal to do that, and we see Anne who like yeah get to go like every way that she get to get it aborted. Very intense. I
Yeah.
I mean like uh you there is many moments where the show just make you have to watch what she been going through. They go to the abortion procedure, like without a cut, with enough, like we not behind behind the camera so that we can imagine the pain that she go through. They actually focus on her pain as well, like all the reaction that she created. It doesn't really flinch, like it make us, like just stay at the screen and see the horror that she get through. Uh,
Yeah.
the
She has to be
the
silent because it's being
yeah,
performed in an apartment where the neighbors might overhear and like report them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's so
and
she can't even like yell or scream or it's
and
just
even
horrible.
at the and even at the end where she had to cut the
Yeah.
cord. Oh
Yep.
boy, I think it's very much intentional for us to see all that, to see like all the pain that she got through. So it's a really powerful movie. It's just like it's a pro-choice movie for uh I think it's obvious, but it's just a film that just about a girl who really want to take control of her body. So very powerful, very emotionally intense drama. Uh, it's a movie that I think you should watch as well to just see like what like the horror that they might have been go through with like one really bad decision. So you know
Yeah. Uh, so I watched this movie as well, and of course it was it was a I had a strong experience, strong reaction to it, I guess.
yeah,
Um, my mind went back to what is it, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days,
right,
the movie that we
right,
previously watched during like a theme episode on
yeah,
this channel.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Honestly, and I mean, obviously, Happening is a great film, but in I was like flashing back to that other movie while I
Mhm.
was watching it, and that film, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, is so.
More powerful, right?
Yeah, to me it kind of like looms over this topic cinematically.
Yeah.
I just, that's unfair, obviously, but I felt as though Happening was kind of created in the shadow of that movie, so I didn't put it on my top 10.
Yeah. Mhm.
Perhaps that's like unjust, but it's a great film.
Yeah. It won uh the Golden Lion in Venice, and very surprisingly, because it's actually the first film by this director, but I think it's very deserving as well.
All right. Okay, I guess I'll do my number six, and then we'll be done with the bottom half of both lists.
All right, so good.
So rather than a very serious and straightforward and harrowing drama like Happening, I have a
Mm.
melodrama at number
Melodrama.
six. It's Parallel Mothers by
All right.
Pedro
Yeah.
Almodovar. At least I think that's how you put the accent on his name, because there's an accent mark over the second O. I'm sure there's a better
Yeah.
way to pronounce it. So a this is kind of a crazy movie, because the performances, like the way that Almodovar directed his actors to perform, is very heightened, I would say. Like when you watch a Lynch film, sometimes
Yeah.
there are performances that are not naturalistic at all.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
they work that way to kind of involve the audience in something, in a story that is like really strange or difficult to parse or abstract.
Yeah.
And those big performances are kind of meant to like invite you in, I guess.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
this film kind of had a similar thing going on, because it's about, like children who are switched at birth, and the relationship that develops between the mothers of the two children, and
Mhm.
like the romance, uh, that like the two romances that Penelope Cruz's character has to juggle.
Mhm.
Um, and like the her lovers doubt that her child, uh, that he's the father of her child and stuff. You can tell, like as I'm describing it, it sounds a little bit like a soap opera. Um,
It is.
and yeah, it kind of is. But at the same time, the film begins and ends with like kind of political underpinnings, because Penelope Cruz's character Janice wants to like excavate a grave on the outskirts of her home village. Um, the Spanish Civil War, was like a widespread conflict in that country, in Spain, and I guess that conflict touched her village. So there are constant, like the camera lingers on photos of her mother and her grandmother and other like residents of that village whenever those topics are brought into the main story. And she wants to excavate that grave in order to give some closure to the people who live in her village. And the way that family is like kind of uh, connected through motherhood. Because it's women who give birth and who allow those familial lines to be continued, is like woven together with the soapier aspects of the movie. There are questions about like what it means to be a mother, especially if the hospital mixes up your kids and you end up raising, a child who's not your own. Are you still that child's mother? What's the connection there, and what's the connection between mothers and the husbands, the children, the parents that they lose as a result of political and military conflict. Um, there is a through line there, and the film takes a while, you know, to to reveal that connection, but I think it
Mhm.
does come together in the end because at the end, the grave is excavated, and all the characters from all of these kind of heightened plots and subplots gather to honor the dead. Um, and in doing so, I feel like the film really comes full circle. So it's another film, kind of like my selection for number 8, Benedetta, that is primarily uh, entertaining in the way that it's slightly unbelievable story, kind of twists and turns. But there is something there beneath the surface to grab onto, which left me with a very favorable impression of the movie.
I I must tell you that I'm also a fan of Pedro Almodovar. So like every single films I really enjoy his films. I watch almost all of his films, and he I think he said directed more than 20 films, which say a lot. Which say how much I like his style as well. Uh, this film in particular, I was really engrossed to the mother side, like to the one that to the drama that the child that got sweet at birth, but the side extravagant. How I don't know how to say that. That one I don't really feel connected to the main story, so that's why. Uh, yeah, I did think of putting this into my top 10, but it just getting outside of my top 10 because of that.
When you say that there was a part that you didn't connect to, are you talking about the other mother?
No, no, no. So I'm talking about the grave. Everything about
Oh,
like
okay.
I just don't think it's connected at all. I think it get mentioned very early in the film, got a bit sideways, and then at the end they somehow get back to that. And I feel the disconnection between that part of the story into the main drama part.
Right. I can understand that. I mean, they are disconnected because that subplot is mostly at the very beginning and at the very end.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I since I was so wrapped up in this movie, after I finished it, I sat and I thought about it and I wrote up my thoughts, and perhaps it could be said that I kind of created the connection mentally,
Mm.
between
Uh,
those parts of the film in my head. Obviously, they were intended by the director, but some people are going to feel them and some aren't. I
yeah.
can I can see their how they you could categorize them separately, having watched the movie.
A question for you though: how many movies from him that you have watched?
One,
All right.
but I have
You.
Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. After I watched this
Yeah.
movie, I downloaded Women on the
All right.
Verge. I was like, I got to see more.
Woman on the Verge is my personal favorite of his.
Yeah.
So it's more screwball. I love
Okay.
that.
I'm down. I'm
It's more
down for
cool.
that. I mean, this film is a little, obviously it's a drama, but this film is kind of screwy as well,
Yeah.
given the development about the kids being switched and everything.
And the best one that I think the most acclaim that he made is all about my mother. So
Hmm.
try to keep that one a while as well. It's the same style as this one,
Yeah.
really effective. It's the one that I tend to recommend people just like I do now to go and watch it because it's just so great. It's just everything that that you want to know about Pedro and Almodovar as a filmmaker, you will see on this movie. Just he loved his woman, even though he gay. He
Oh,
loved
I
his
didn't know
woman.
that. Well,
Yeah,
that could explain, his interest. That could,
yeah.
in part.
He he just have this like empowerment about the woman that like he loved the woman who like face really some hardship, get out of that and become stronger because of this. His film, a lot of that, a lot of his film is about that. I love that about him.
Hmm.
And so red, like the background, everything is so colorful. So like uh he plays it so proudly. Even like all about my mother is so red as well. So
Plus, when you watch his
yep,
movies, you get to look at Penelope Cruz for an hour and a
yep,
half every time.
yep.
And that doesn't hurt. Just to be,
I agree.
objectifying a little bit.
And Penelope Cruz, it was in all about my mother as
Right,
well.
right.
Even though that film was in I think 1999, so a long time ago. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, she I would I haven't seen that movie, but I doubt that she, aged very much
no, she
between
don't.
the two because she, you watch this movie and then you go on Wikipedia and learn her age and you're like, "Are you serious?
Yep, yep. See
How
secret.
is that
See,
possible?"
mm,
Well, I guess it's because she's rich, and
see.
every advantage that she can take in order to keep herself looking young, she has access to. But,
Yeah, she
obviously
isn't
she's very talented as well.
yeah, she isn't the main characters in All About My Mothers, but she make a great impact in that movie as well.
Okay.
And see the wife of Javier Bardem. I think
Javier Bardem.
you
Yep.
yeah yeah you know that, right? Okay, so we go from one woman empowerment to the other. As my number five film is all about that. It's the film that Wooper mentioned me a little bit earlier in the week.
Huh.
Titan,
What is it?
Titan,
Oh,
Titan.
yeah. I don't know how you say it.
I think it's called Titan. So with an E.
Titan. Okay. I would look at it and say like Titane. Titane.
Well,
I have no idea.
in any case, it is the film that won the Palme d'Or. So I think it's a proud sister with the substance, the one that just released last year.
Right.
This one though, I feel much more positive about this one than the substance. It's harder to predict. Uh, it followed this person, Alexia, a woman who has titanium plate in her skull after a childhood accident, and then she develops a disturbing connection with cars, just to say it very mildly. And from then, it just have a lot of twists and turns, and just like just go into like some really uh, unpredictable directory. For me though, this film is all about the flute. So be it a chamber flute, be it a petrol flute, or even like the fluteness in the narrative. So in that, this is for the theme about identity and transformation. So Alex actually, like disguising herself as someone else, as a man as well, with the physical chain. So it just yeah, and also very extreme body horror. Uh, there is many moments that it's just like you cannot take your eyes away just to see like what fuck up image it just uh like appear on screen. But it also about like the theme of loss as well, as like the father who eventually adopted Alexia is like have his own issues with like letting go uh of his son who disappeared. And they together they just uh form a strange bond to each other that it's a film that really weird, really like love it or hate it, but also like there is a really strange like human connection, strange core of it all that like make it stick all together. So this is just the most original piece of work that I've seen in this decade. Brandon.
All right.
So
Can I
yes,
tell you my reaction to this movie?
yep, go for it.
The final scene where she gives birth and dies,
Yep,
and
right,
her adoptive father, I suppose, like
yep,
holds the baby with its like chrome plated spine and says like
yeah,
I'm here, like to comfort
yeah,
the child. He says I'm here, I'm here,
yeah,
and then it cuts to black. That's the end of the movie.
yeah.
When that happened, I just burst out laughing. I was like,
Yeah,
this
I don't, I
is
don't blame you.
ridiculous. I got I got pretty much nothing from this movie.
All right.
Um, so more power to anybody who saw it and loved it and connected with it and found meaning in it. I think that's great. But I just it went over my head, man,
Yeah.
or maybe
No,
under my feet.
I don't blame you on that.
I can understand a love for like maximalist films. I would say Benedetta is one of those as well. Um,
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
so I'm not like the whole I guess section or like subsection of cinema that has to do with like big visuals, big developments, and like shocking imagery and nudity and all that. I'm not like I won't turn up my nose at it on principle or anything. I just didn't like Titan or however you pronounce it in particular.
Yeah,
But I know the director began with Raw, I think is the name of her like 2016 work,
yeah.
somewhere in
I
there.
wa- I watched it
I
back in Cannes.
Oh, did you?
Love it.
How was it
Yeah.
received?
Oh, uh, they laugh at the end, even though it's a horror movie. So,
Okay, kind of like
uh,
my reaction to this movie.
kind of like that. I actually have a really good positive experience with that as well. So there are
Mm,
some moments that go in horror, body horrors, because this person in the movies, she get a taste for like she get a taste for human flesh, so she wants
mm.
yeah. So it's God, yep, a good films.
Yeah, I'm aware of the movie. It's on my radar. Based on my experience with this movie, I don't know if I want to seek out any of
I
her other work, but perhaps,
Yeah.
perhaps I will.
All right. Um, did you enjoy the substance? I think it's just on the same level with the substance.
I'll tell you what,
So
I did like the substance until we got to like the
the final,
third act and it kept going and she eventually evolved or devolved to become that hideous
yeah,
monster walking down the
right,
street after she like massacred everybody at the award show.
yeah,
Um,
right,
so I feel like the substance ran too long, but I did enjoy the film for most of its run.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair enough.
Okay.
All right.
All right, my number five. So far, you've listed six films, and I've listed five, and I'm about to list my sixth, which I am
Yeah.
positive is not on your list. We may be headed towards a zero overlap finish here.
Wow.
We'll see whether you defy my expectations, though. Whether
Right,
you probably haven't seen my number five. You can let me know. It is a documentary called Summer of Soul.
right. Aware of this one, but yeah, no, I have not seen it.
Okay. So it's directed by Questlove of The Roots, who are
Mhm.
one of the biggest and most influential hip hop groups of all time, I suppose. Hip hop's a pretty young genre, but they're titans of it. Speaking of titans, it is about the Harlem Cultural Festival of 1969. So that's the same year that Woodstock happened. You may be aware of the
Yep.
the music festival Woodstock. The
Hmm.
Harlem Cultural Festival. So Woodstock featured mostly white artists because it was about uh, folk music, and rock music, whereas the Harlem Cultural Festival, which happened in the same year, is more about funk and jazz and soul and blues.
Mhm.
Those four genres in particular, and it really is about all four of them in equal measure because the number of performers um, whose performances were captured on film and then, as the story goes, left in a basement for 50 years before they were unearthed and used to create this documentary. The
Right.
variety of performances immense. And I mean, here I'll list you some of the musical acts who appear in this documentary: The Fifth
Yeah.
Dimension, Stevie Wonder, Sly and the
Wow.
Family Stone, BB King,
Mhm.
Mavis Staples, Gladys Knight, the drummer Max Roach, who is one of the greatest drummers who ever lived,
Mhm.
and so those were the names that stuck out to me. But there were so many others. Like there was Afro Caribbean music. There was like Heartland music. There was a performance, one performance in particular by Mahalia Jackson, who is like
Mhm.
a legendary soul singer who I'd never heard of before watching this film. Apparently, she was the idol of Mavis Staples, whose work I am very familiar with.
Right.
And so through some of the talk, so this is a documentary. Like Children of the Mist had no talking head segments. It was very, um,
Mhm.
I guess, naturalistic. This
Yeah.
movie is a more traditional documentary, which has talking head segments with attendees of the festival and
Mhm.
also performers. So I would say that in general, I prefer the more natural style if I have to watch a doc. But for
Mhm.
this one really great aspect of it was you got to hear from the people who performed their not only their memories of the festival, but also like what inspired them about it. And hearing Mavis Staples talk about her performance with Mahalia Jackson, who she idolized growing up as a girl, and then that being intercut with footage of their performance together, where they go back and forth just singing, like trying to expel their souls from their mouths and into the microphone, and giving absolutely every bit of breath they have in their performances is just like a spiritual experience. Um, Incredible music from front to back. I was like so happy and like joyful while watching this movie. I was constantly like grooving in my seat. Um, and it's not just a document of this 6 week cultural festival in New York, though. There's also the film contextualizes it in the late '60s in the political upheaval of that time, because in 1965 Malcolm X was assassinated. In
Mhm.
1968 Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. Um, and that left, I think, members of the black community, especially in inner cities like in Harlem, like searching for leadership and for meaning and for direction. And there's a sense in the like interviews that are conducted to accompany this footage. There's a sense that you get that this festival, these performances, this event provided some of that spark, some of that direction for the people who attended. Um, the moon landing also happened in 1969, the same year
Mhm.
as this festival. And there's a great quote that I guess I'll end my diatribe with, um, because there are interviews in the present day, but there are also recordings of interviews from 50
Mhm.
plus years ago. And one of the interviewers asks a Harlemite, somebody who lives in Harlem, "What do you think about the moon landing?" And he says, "The black man wants to go to Africa, the white man wants to go to the moon. But as for me, I'm just going to stay here in Harlem and party with the Puerto Ricans and have some fun." So it's not all like politics, and it's not all serious, and it's not all about the music either.
Yeah.
There's just like a sense of happiness, I would say, that this film talks about as having happened in the past, and also a sense of happiness that it gives you watching it in the present. It's just like an educational experience, and there's tons of great music. I just loved watching it. I think more than any other movie that I saw in preparation for this podcast. I loved the experience of watching this film.
Yeah, I get it. Just captured the moment in time beautifully, right?
Yeah, and the clothing is so crazy. It's awesome. I personally don't really care about costuming in movies, but when you watch a
Mm,
documentary and you're seeing like it's serving as a document of not only how people lived but how they dressed in a particular era,
mm,
the clothing is out of this world because there was like a lot of African influence in like 60s fashion, and seeing all the people at the festival wearing like dashikis and like robes, and it's a trip, man.
mm. Nice, nice pick, Wooper.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think I'm pretty confident that this is not. Yeah, you already said you hadn't seen it, but you were aware of it.
Yeah, I'm
So
aware.
so no overlap so far.
Yeah, very interesting. I doubted this one gonna get to your list though. So I think uh the streak of non overlap continues. So my number four is Memoria.
Memoria.
It's
Okay, I've heard of this, but I don't know anything about it.
all right. It's from the Thai director Apichatpong
Oh, okay.
Weerasethakul.
This is why I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't like the first film of his that I watched.
And the first and the best and the most well-known film of him. So I don't think you go wrong. You can go wrong here. But it actually very interesting in this one. So this is the first one that he kind of like make a movie internationally. It's not in English speaking. It's in Colombia, where Tilda Swinton as a character, she just wander around the city and she experienced the syndrome, exploding head syndrome, where she can hear like the random sound, uh, like a big thunder sound that just randomly appear in her head. And imagine my surprise that the exploding head syndrome is a real thing. It's a real condition. And it actually is something that the director himself experienced some times ago. So basically, he just derive a bit from his own experience. But it evolved into something else. So she tried to navigate the source of that sound. She tried to get into the sound editor who can create the same sound so that she know what that is.
Mm.
So in the process, the sound design it become a central element. The mysterious buying that the characters here become the driving force of the narrative and create a tension despite the film calm visuals. The pacing is very slow, so uh, it's like the movie that you watch
Uncle
earlier that
Boon
you
Me.
mentioned. No, 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 no. So the one that you um
That
the
is the
one
one
from
that we watched, isn't it? Who can recall his past
Yeah,
lives?
no, yep. So I mentioned about Gaspar No movies
Oh, Vortex.
that Vortex it very slow, it very
Yeah.
slow pace. It like there are some scene that like that lasts for several minutes that that just nothing happens. So it's very calm, very minimal dialogue, quiet environment. But the slow pacing also create the meditative mood that encourage viewer to reflect rather than follow the conventional plot. And then there is something crazy, some twist going on at the end that I don't want to spoil you, but it actually contextualize what come after. So for this director, I just feel that he is very otherworldly. Is like the adjective that I have of him. He make the movie that feel like not station in this world, and this one fit directly into that as well. For that, for like for all of these things that even like at the end of it, I don't even know what this movie is supposed to be, but like I feel transcendent all the same. I don't even know like yeah what the key to crack the mystery, and then I think that there is no mystery that need to be cracked in this. Like you come here for the feel of that movie, not to not to unlock any mysteries out of it. So yeah, for that it's it in my number four of the year 2021.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I'm ever gonna watch another film uh, by that
Like
director. I really don't have any interest. I'm not a I'm interested in watching more slow cinema. I think
yeah.
it's fascinating. But his particular brand of it, I like. Even if there is an alien spaceship at the end of the movie,
Oh wow. Yeah.
I
Yeah, that the twist that I want to say you. It just
yeah.
you never know, right? And I cannot make head or tails of what that detail gonna, but it means.
Well, I mean, clearly based on the film of his that we saw, Uncle Boon Me, he's interested in the supernatural. And aliens would be a part
Yeah,
of that, I think,
yeah,
or could
kind
be a
of.
part of it.
Mhm.
I saw that when you said Memoria, I instantly put it in on Wikipedia, and I
Yeah,
scrolled a little bit, and I saw how the links in Wikipedia are written in blue.
right, right, right.
I saw in blue text like alien spacecraft, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Um, on to my number four, I guess.
All right, let's go with that.
I think this film is the last chance for me to mention a film that might be in your top three.
Hmm.
So we'll see. This movie is Petite Maman,
Yep.
uh, a French movie directed by Céline Sciamma. This is my best guess at how to pronounce her name. It's about a young girl who loses her grandmother
Hmm.
and who goes to live or stay temporarily in her mother's old house that her mother once shared with her grandmother. She goes out to play in the woods, encounters another young girl who looks very much like her, and it turns out, as she learns over the course of the movie, this she has met with her mother from another time.
Hmm.
Um, and the film is very minimal, I would say. Despite its fanciful, you know, fantastic, I would say, in the sense that it is a fantasy. Despite its fantastic premise, the film features almost no music and relies almost entirely on the performances of the two twin girls. Let's see, their names are Josephine and Gabrielle Sanz. One plays uh, Nellie, the the girl who's lost her grandmother. The other plays a past version of her mother, and they exist on the same continuum. Um, and it's just the way that the film opens with the death of the grandmother, and as a result has a very melancholic mood at the start. Um, and you get to see Nellie's like curiosity and her love of fun like slowly peak out from amidst that melancholy until you eventually get scenes where she is just like shrieking with laughter with her mother, a past version of her mother who she's coexisting with, as they like attempt to make crepes together, or they put on plays where they play different characters, um, which ties into the aspirations of both girls, what they might want to do with their futures. Um, I would say the thing I like best about the film is the evolution of it, though, that it starts on such a downcast note, and you slowly uh, sort of ascend along with the characters as they make sense of their situation and the fact that they're living an impossible scenario, and yet they're so closely bonded together by their, the fact that they're family, that they have no choice but to accept that reality and make the best of it, because it is uh, a beautiful chance that they're given to connect with one another, in the wake of this grief that Nellie's experiencing. Um, I think there's more that I could say about it, but I'll just leave it at that, as it is a pretty short and minimal film. So perhaps it's fitting that I cut myself off here.
All right. I regret to inform you that I haven't watched these films. It's just
Oh,
off my it's just off my radar.
okay.
I
Pretty sure we're gonna
I
have zero overlap.
I think I have every reason uh to like this one. Based on like the director's previous track. I
Hmm.
enjoyed most of her films, so I think I gotta enjoy this one.
Yeah.
But
It's
in order
also
to
just 70 minutes long.
yeah,
Like, you can knock it out
mm,
super fast.
yeah. Uh, but to surprise you though, I guess that my top three. Now we enter the top three now, and I think that the three uh are likely to be on the top 10. So let's see on that. If my
Did you say
count
are
is
not
correct, we
likely?
are likely. So if my count is correct, we might have like three that we have in the top 10, and these are the three.
There's no way.
So
There's no way that
all
any of
right,
the three films I picked are on your list.
really, all right. On my
Yeah.
list though. So let's see. So my number three is we just moved from the 70 minutes films to a 3 hours movies.
Wait, you said this
Uh,
was film was too long. I thought it wasn't going
all
to be on
right,
your list at all.
ride my car.
Okay. We have at least one.
Yeah. All right. So many consider this film is uh, Risuke Hamaguchi masterpiece. Uh, we we also have like the other movies that we talk and discuss that will also before that also released this year. The Wheel of Fortunes and oh my god,
Fantasy.
no, I don't remember. And Fantasy.
As well as
I
Evil Does Not Exist, which we discussed for, what was it, 2023? 4?
2024, I think. In any case, um, he's become one of my favorite directors. I think I said this a lot in uh, in this podcast, but yeah, Ride My Car. It's just a very deep exploration of grief and healing. So I think they make a bold decision. The filmmaker make a bold decision to make a prologue that lasts almost an hour long.
Yeah.
The films but I think it's better off because the film focus on with that foundation though we get to know the get the foundation the chemistry between the husband to his wife so that like when we take that out of the equation you can see like the rest of the film he just like try to navigate the feeling of loss uh of his wife, how he processed that, especially so there is a many slow conversation between him and the driver Misaki. That's so how like sharing this story, the personal story, can help them move toward healing. And then there is a theme of like communication and understanding where like the characters they speak different language in the play. Uncle Vanya I think I know about the play. I have never, see how the play was out. Yet, they still understand one another. So, uh, I think the film just highlight the idea that like the core emotional connection can exist even like beyond the understanding of the words. And the the play itself, theme of regret and unrealized dreams reflect what the character themselves are experiencing. So there are many long, like long scenes that have like a quiet driving sequence, and that also like build up the reflective atmospheres, and many like long dialogue scenes that get in the middles. um so like in overall, I think this film is just like, even if it's a bit run a bit too long, it's still like have speak very deeply about like human connection, about like the theme of grief and come toward healing. So that you see like how the main character and Misaki the driver come together at the end, feel very earned, even though that they are very different in background, in in personality, but they still share the same like mutual bond. So I think this one also just come back to my number nine pick, compartment number six, like where like the two different characters just bonding because like they share something really intimate to each other,
Okay, you tricked me, man.
and not necessarily love or sex. All right, I don't trick you anything.
I just assumed. Personally,
Yep.
when I feel that a movie is too long, I'm not likely. Well, like when I express that opinion about a movie, I'm not likely to consider it a top 10
Right.
film. The feeling of a movie being too long is I don't like, you know.
It, yep. Is it too long though? It is.
No,
That's
I well, I'll speak more about Drive My Car later. It's not my number 3, so I'll get to it,
all right.
either at the second or first place.
Cool.
But I feel as though every millisecond of the movie is completely vital. Like I can't imagine what you would cut,
Hmm. Yeah.
but that's just
Yeah.
me.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. I cannot either. So
Yeah. Um, okay, but I'll. It's not my number 3. I'll get to my number 3 now,
right.
because I'll have more to say about Drive My Car later. My number 3 film is an Indian film called Kadaisi Vivasayi.
Wow. I
It
don't think I had
is
ever heard of it.
okay. It's well. You remember how earlier I was talking about my letterboxed method, where I look at the most popular films and the highest rated films, and just take some from each.
Yep. Yep.
This was one of the highest rated films on that, at least on that website, of
Right.
2021. So I didn't know anything about it either, but I just decided to put it on, and I
Yep.
loved it.
All right.
So it's set in a rural Indian village. So another film set in a rural village, um, where a tree, like a tree of particular importance to their culture, has been struck by
Yep.
lightning. And as a
Mm.
result, they decide that they need to, their village, communally decides that they need to renew their dedication and their worship of their local deity or their local god.
Yep.
And so, in order to prepare for the ceremony that they're going to have to honor their god and to pray for their safety and everything, there is an elderly farmer named
Mm-hmm.
Manikandan who must provide like the first fruits of the offering. So he needs to like plant some grain and harvest it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a farcical element to the film where he can't accomplish that goal because people from a neighboring city mistakenly assume that he has killed a peacock, which is
Okay.
it is a crime to do in their region. So
Okay.
he's hard of hearing. So when they accuse him of this, he doesn't deny it, because he can't quite understand what they're saying.
Yep.
And as a result, he is prevented from, planting and harvesting the grain that needs to be offered to like begin the ritual that I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the film I think is primarily about the ways that modern life and like more hierarchical and organized society impedes on like individual like values and goals. because he is eventually imprisoned for a crime that he did not commit and which he doesn't have the necessary like understanding, since he's hard of hearing, to deny. So there's a lot of humor in the presentation of this quote unquote crime.
Mhm.
But there's also a sadness to it as well. I feel like the balancing of the tones of the fact that it is a farce, but also, a crime against this elderly man is handled very well. So that there's a lot of good dialogue as well, some very humorous dialogue, as well as some like high-minded and spiritual thoughts on the state of the world and how these two spheres exist in present day India, the more developed part of the country as well as the more rural part, and how they're in conflict. However, what really elevates the film for me is the second to last scene, which is as he is eventually let go, like released from prison, is the ceremony that the film was building to the entire time, the ritual where they offer their harvest to their local deity, and it is so exquisitely filmed, and is so it musical, and there's so much dancing, and all like every single one of the characters from the whole film is involved in this ceremony. There's a particular shot of the policeman who is like very lazy and doesn't really care to do his job to the best of his ability. He's the one who originally arrests Manikandan, the farmer.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's a shot of him participating in this ceremony, and there's like water is poured over him as he's dancing, and it's as like the message of the shot is like he's being freed of his responsibility, of his burden. You see water pour over the badge on his shoulder, as
Mhm.
though like the power of the earth and of the elements is cleansing him of like the system that he's helping to uphold, like the unjust, um, like law enforcement in the neighboring city. It's like he's being reborn in this scene, and everyone is just like experiencing total like oneness with each other, despite there being hundreds of people. Uh, it's really like very religious, like out of body experience, and I was totally won over by that moment. Uh, it was like a cinematic high that I experienced while watching it. So I think the film as a whole is great. There are some subplots that I think I lack the cultural understanding to
Mhm.
appreciate, but the movie as a whole I was really wrapped up in and really loved. So number three for me.
Really, really inspiring pick there. Like I have never heard of this film before, so it's another film that I want to put it on my list.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I have only seen three Indian films in my life.
Right,
This is one of them, and it really, the other two were All We Imagine Is Light and Girls Will Be Girls.
right,
One of them I
right.
remember you put in your top 10 for 2024.
Yep, yep.
The other kind of has similar themes, and I enjoyed both of those films. I respect them a lot. Not that my respect really means
I
anything, but this I didn't really connect with either of them very much. But this film completely won me over. Like I'm interested in the way that I kind of learn about Japan through anime. Not the best way to learn about Japan,
mhm.
but it is how I've learned a lot about that country and its cultures. And
All right,
this film kind of inspired me to learn about India through cinema.
right. I would say that this is a more, like more main, not mainstream, but the more, yeah, I cannot find another better word, mainstream version of Bollywood that you're gonna see. So
Oh,
you know,
it's
like
yeah, it's I don't know if it even qualifies as Bollywood because there's like different regions, different cinematic regions in India, and this is like a Tamil film
right,
from the southern part of the country, and I don't know if
right.
that is technically a part of Bollywood. I need to learn more about the topic.
All right, I say that differently. Then I think it's definitely a better representation of Indian movie that you watch compared to the other two movies because the other two movies are more like independent, and this one I think they are like more like studio produced. I think I haven't seen
I
the
don't know
movie,
if
but
that's the
it's a
case. Maybe it is, but the subject matter of this film is not, quote unquote mainstream. It's about like
yeah,
man's need to reconnect with nature and being one with the earth, and it's you know
yeah.
not exactly an action movie.
All right, is there a direct translation for the title?
Yes, The Last Farmer.
The last one was all right. Hmm, very interesting. All right, it's on my watch list then. Now to my number two, so we only have two more. I do suspect that this one might end up to your top 10, but we will see on that.
Okay.
My number two is The Power of the Dog,
Jane Campion, right?
James Campion. It's a psychological Western drama. It's set in the 1920s Montana, and it followed the two rancher brothers whose life changed when one of them married to a widow and bring her and her son to live at the ranch. So the film gradually reveals hidden tensions, masculinity struggles, and psychological manipulation between the characters. So these characters are very mean spirited.
Yeah.
So it's an exploration of toxic masculinity. So I do think that is one of the very best role by Benedict Cumberbatch. I really enjoy he played this role and any other roles that he played. Whose harsh and dominant personality represent the traditional masculinity. The story slowly reveals the insecurity and vulnerability behind this tough exteriors. And then the storytelling is very slow and psychological, engrossing as well. So instead of focus on the action, it builds the tension through the character interaction, silent atmosphere, and creating a strong psychological drama. I think this one is just kind of like perfect the way that it had been envisioned and had been directed by Jane Campion. I don't think there is like any misstep in this. Very strong direction, very like straight purposeful. She know what she wanted to be in its scenes, what she want to get across, and we can see how uh, the power ship as well at the end of the movies where it get the title The Power of the Dog, and overall a very powerful films of I think it's the best film that it could make with this the very strong performances all around, very slow but like eventually build into uh like a fight a finale that like you can see it coming, and like it's a great film overall. So Power of the Dog is my number two.
Okay.
And sorry, just want to say one more thing.
Sure. Go ahead. Go for it.
I've been flipping between this one and my number one as well. So this one was almost get the number one slot until the very last minute where I decided to pull it back to number two.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I have seen The Power of the Dog. It is not on my top 10 list.
All right.
Um, first of all, Benedict Cumberbatch's performance in this movie is, as you said, astounding,
Right.
amazing. And I mean, Kirsten Dunst, I thought was also fantastic. Like the way that she descended into alcoholism as a result of her brother-in-law's cruel treatment, and her desperation to safeguard her son from his influence.
Yeah.
I was really admired her performance in this film as well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, a incredible setting for the movie, which resulted in a lot of great landscape shots and just very thoughtfully, the cinematography was very thoughtful, I thought, from front to back. However,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
thought the film just ended really abruptly. I was like, that's
Right.
it?
Right.
That
Mm.
was just my personal experience with it. Like, Cumberbatch's character dies, and
Dead.
yeah, that's what he earned as a result of his cruelty is the message, I would say. But I felt I just wanted more. I wasn't satisfied with the ending, so that was my personal experience with it. But of course, there is so much to love about the movie.
I think the ending is the best way it could. So I have no trouble with the ending this way.
Okay, all right,
But what shall be your number two?
okay. My number two, and remember earlier when our top threes were still a mystery, I said there was no
Mhm.
chance based on my assumption that you wouldn't have drive my car. Um, I said there was no chance. So here's a film that I don't think could possibly be your number one. We'll find out, I guess.
Right,
That film is CODA.
right, right. CODA.
Yeah, stands for Child of Deaf
Child.
Adults.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty straightforward coming of age drama. I suppose the one way in which it's not straightforward is that it is the girl who comes of age is born to deaf parents, but she is hearing. She can hear.
Yeah.
Um, the I just really like the way that the depiction of her like straddling the hearing and non-hearing worlds was handled. Her father, who is a fisherman, is sick, as many of his co-fishermen, I guess, his peers are, of being like ripped off by middlemen. And so he gets the idea to like run a co-op where the fishermen sell directly to customers. And she, as a hearing person who can translate, from ASL to speech, is instrumental in that process. But she also has her own ambitions of being a singer. Um, and so she's torn between the two of them. So the narrative setup, I would say, is pretty standard, you know. But I just experienced such a huge range of like powerful emotions watching the movie. The reasons for which I would say one of the biggest reasons for which is Emilia Jones' performance as the main character Ruby, because she has a beautiful singing voice, and singing is what she wants to do with her life. And some of the songs that she like some of the song selections for the movie that she sings, are just a perfect fit for her vocal range, and also tie in thematically with her desire to ensure that her parents know that even though she wants to be independent, she still loves them as fiercely, and as committedly as they love her. Um, the song that she sings towards the end of the movie, where she is auditioning for Berkeley, which is like probably the most famous performing arts college in America, is "Both
Oh, yeah.
Sides Now" by Joni Mitchell, which is one of my all-time favorite songs.
Right.
So to hear her not only perform it so beautifully in the film, but also to sign the words to it for for her family who are sitting in the rafters, who have sneaked into the theater. They're not supposed to be there. It's only supposed to be Ruby, her character, and the judges or the panel. But her family, kind of in a way, the film like embodies many of its messages and many of its qualities in that scene, because they do things differently than everyone else. Um, Given that the parents and their son are all deaf. Um, they live differently than everybody else, and so when they're told that they're not allowed to come in and listen to her sing, they're like, "To hell with that!" You know, this is our daughter who we love, and we're gonna support her in whatever way we can. So they're sitting in the balcony as she's singing this song for the panel that's going to determine whether she can get into this musical college or not. And she is signing using sign language. Um, and they're able to hear, in quotation marks, what she's saying. It's just like I shed more tears during the watching of this film than I even knew existed in my body. Um, there's also a moment where she is, her parents can't hear her sing, but there's a moment earlier in the movie where her father puts his hand around her throat so that he can hear the vibrations of her voice box as she's singing a song to him, like a love song about like where the lyrics are all about trying to communicate to someone who doesn't understand you that you love them. And I just, oh God, seeing that, like the emotions cross his face as he's like clutching, like desperately clutching her throat in order to get a sense of what she's saying, is just a amazing scene. I can't think of too many father-daughter moments in movies that are that impactful. Uh, so, while I would say like the structure of this film is pretty ordinary, it's not an independent film, it's not an art film, but it really struck me, So I had to put it on my list at number 2.
Yeah, these are good tiers, man. So I share that with you. Um, One thing that I want to mention you is that CODA is actually a remake of
Yes.
a I think 2015 or 2014 French films, which itself is also a remake of the 1996 Denmark or Swedish films. So
Oh, I
it's
knew it
come
was a remake, but I didn't
way
know it
back.
was remade twice over.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's come way back.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that like it's just this kind of like symbol story that like just have a universal appeal. Like doesn't matter where it based, doesn't matter yeah which continent it is.
Right.
Just the core strength of that, just like just make people sweeping over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine that the film could be remade, you know, again in the
Mhm.
future, perhaps for like an East Asian audience or an African audience.
Right.
Um, it really does feel universal, even though it's about, people whose experience of the world is something that I could never totally understand.
Yeah.
The humanity, it's overwhelmingly human. Um,
Yeah.
so really loved it.
All right. Would I have Coda in my number one?
No.
All right. All right. I just go to my number one though. My number one is actually one of the film that you mentioned before, and that one is the worst person in the world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I really love the storytelling structure of it. So the movie is divided into 12 chapters, a prologue and an epilogue. So I just love the whole feeling of that. By splitting into the characters, we see like a different moment of their life, of her life, and like their relationship. Even like there are some of the chapters that not about her at all. Like there is a chapter towards the end where she just saw a news about like her ex boyfriend just arguing, and then she become interested in like reach out to him again. So yeah, it's just that, but they also explore the uncertainty of many young adults face when they, like when they try to define themselves, when they choosing career, relationship, and even like life directions. Uh, so it captured the feeling of being lost while trying to define oneself. Like the very first chapter we heard about, like she been studying in to become a nurse or something like in uni, and then she changed direction to become uh to take a photograph, and it's just like that, like right in the very first scene we have a clear idea of who she is, and during the rest of the movie she just like just repeating the same mistake over again until maybe in the future she may need to grow up. So it's just good to see she definitely not the worst person in the world, but like every the decision she make uh is kind of like self-centered, and it's kind of like affect other people the way that she doesn't know, because like she only care about herself. uh the uh the actress, I don't know how to spell her name, Renette Resvi, she deliver one of the best performance, and even like she actually have another performance this year that I she is nominated for the Oscar, that I think even better than this one. But
Sentimental value.
yeah, that this one I think her character is more vibrant than the other one. So it just have like a lot of vulnerability. It have curiosity. Her characters have like sort of like impulsiveness as well, that make the character feel very vibrant, realistic, and relatable. So this is the kind of movie that I know that I wanted to make myself, and I just I just like it from start to finish, like every moment of it. And this is like I think the movie that I really want to rewatch it again out of these 10 movies. So that make it my my top 10, my the top spot in the 10.
I think that makes
Top 10 to
sense.
do one. Yep.
You know, the movie that you are most interested in rewatching, probably the one that you connected with the most. I think it makes sense that it would be the top pick.
Yeah. But then come the worries that like the film not gonna live up the second time you watch it.
Yeah, people speak about that a lot. Like, I'm worried it's not going to hold up. I personally have never struggled with that. Like, I'm interested to learn whether a film whether I'll feel differently about it or interpret it differently, take something different from it, or even hate it.
Right.
Um, I think that's fascinating. So I can understand that people like cherish their experiences with movies and with art in general, and don't necessarily want to taint that. But I think it's worth taking that risk.
Yeah. All right. And let's come to your number one. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, Drive My Car. I
Yeah.
would say this is one of the best films I have ever seen.
Right.
Um,
Wow.
there is a conversation midway through this movie, which deals with, it's kind of a play within a play, so to speak, because the film is about an actor and director, a theater
Mhm.
actor and director, who, after the death of his wife, is, as you mentioned when you were talking about Drive My Car, is hired to direct a multilingual adaptation of Uncle Vanya, the Chekhov play.
Mhm.
So, as part of this process, he goes and has dinner with one of his coworkers, who's kind of facilitating the casting process and helping with the multilingual aspect of it and everything. And it's revealed that the actress that he has cast in the role of Sonia, is the wife of his coworker,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I believe they're a Korean couple. Um, and that scene to me was like a revelation. Like the warmth of that scene and the way that his wife, who is deaf and communicates through Korean Sign Language, how like open she is, how resistant to judgment she is. Like her vibrancy was like blew me away. When I first watched the film, I got to the end of that scene and I just rewound it and watched it again. Like it was like a transformative experience. Well, I don't know if I was transformed, but I felt that the film was transformed in that moment, and I was certainly amazed. And during that dinner scene, the deaf woman, Yuna is her name, Yuna, says of Uncle Vanya, the play, Chekhov's text comes inside me and moves my body, which I had not been able to move before. Because she was once a dancer, but she lost her ability to dance in an accident. And I would say that this film, in the same way that Chekhov's text like enlivens her character, this film enlivened me as a witness to it. There is so much in this film about the impossibility of fully connecting with someone, and that if someone who you love dies, you can grieve them, but that grief can be hindered by the feeling that you never truly knew or understood them. That message, I suppose, or just that possibility, is so like profound. I feel as though this film is operating on a level that I cannot completely grasp, and I just loved the experience of like kind of feeling lost and at the mercy of Hamaguchi, like not being able to participate in like the I don't know, the interpretation of the movie. I just felt like it was his show, and I was completely in his shadow, like on strings, and I was being controlled while watching the film. The bond between the two main characters, Yusuke, the main character, and Masaki, I believe is her name.
Yep.
Maybe it is Misaki. Okay. Misaki. The like the initial distance between them and the slow like coming together, the slow union, I guess, of their characters, like perhaps philosophically speaking, was so interesting to watch. And the moment when she takes him to view the wreckage of her home, where she lived with her abusive mother in Hokkaido, was like just amazing. When their shared grief, became a point of connection between the two of them, and they were both able to express their like forlorn, feelings and hug on the snowy bank of the landslide where her mother had died. I was just in awe, I would say, of this movie. I wouldn't, remove any part of it. I wouldn't change any part of it. I am not qualified to even begin thinking about that sort of thing. The film just made me feel kind of like small and inadequate, and I hung on its every image and word. So for that reason, I put it at number one.
Yeah. This is one of the only two picks that we have in common, so I very much agree with you on almost everything that you say about Run My Car. Question for you though, for these movies and for the other one that he made during the same years, which one that you, I would say, prefer to watch more?
Between this and Wheel of Fortune Fantasy?
Yeah.
Oh, Drive My Car without question. Yeah, I would say like for me, given my admittedly small experience with film, I've been talking about Letterboxd a lot. I've got 480 films on there. So that's the number of films that I've seen since I started the account. Doesn't include films that I saw before that point. I would guess that I've probably seen about 1,000 movies in my life, and I would say Drive My Car is probably a top 10
Mhm.
movie within
That's
that
great.
group, that small group of 1,000.
Yeah, that's good to hear though. And yeah, come check out Happy Hours. It's even longer,
Yep.
4 hours,
Oh, I
which
intend to. I
I
intend
was
to.
I was blown away. There are many loose moments though in the films. Like I think there's like a thread of like 30 minutes to 45 minutes of they doing some of the workshop. So we go into that workshop, which I don't think have that relevant to the main story, but the whole film altogether is just something transparent. So for me, that is a masterpiece.
Mm,
For me,
cool.
that's the one film that you asked me, which is his best film. I gonna point to that one. Not Drive My Car, but like he holds such a high quality in movies that like every single movies of his is bound to be like something something uh dear to me. Something that I respond to very well.
All right. Nice.
And guess what? He have another movies that coming in this year. So I would suspect that high chances that it's gonna come in cats. So looking forward to that.
That's in just a couple months, is that right? In May?
Yeah. So they gonna the cats gonna announce the uh the announcement in I think a month time.
I
So
mean, it's a French language film, so there's a 0% chance that it won't be at Cannes. Of course they'll put it in the main
uh
competition if it's in the French language.
if he decided to submit the movie then.
Mm.
But it will feature the main female from Benedetta as the
Oh, really?
yeah as the main characters.
Okay, well that is exciting.
I saw her other work as well. I really like her as an actress.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't seen anything else of hers, but I'm very interested to do so. Dude, can you believe that she's like nearly 50 years old?
Yep, she amazing, right?
Yeah, in more ways than one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. I her name is like Virginie.
Yeah,
That's prob
Virginie
something like that.
Efira.
Efira. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. So she's been in a bunch of French films. I'm sure that I would be interested in watching. And there's other Indian, Japanese films, Vietnamese,
Yeah,
Iranian. There's just and every once in a while, America can put out a decent film as well. Just every once
yeah.
in a while.
I
There's so much left to watch.
In general, I would say that your list have even more variety than my list. You have a lot of movie from foreign countries and even like an animation, an anime,
Yeah,
and
and two
yep,
documentaries.
and two documentaries. Yep,
Yeah,
what else?
I don't look up what films win awards and stuff. I just have a
Mhm.
very kind of you used the word pure earlier.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of have a very like unclouded, kind of amateurish, childlike way of selecting the movies that I want to see, and I think that does result in some unorthodox choices, but it's the way I prefer to do it.
yep. It's a good
I
list
will
in general.
say, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. I would just say that it's a good list in general for both of us. So well done.
Yeah, I like your number 9 pick, Compartment number 6. I'm interested to watch that.
Mhm. Yep.
What help me what were your number 10 and 7? I didn't write those down.
All right. My number 10 is. All right. Let me put up my list again. Wait, I think you were about to mention something else as well. My number 10 is At the Yam,
Oh, yes, okay.
and my number 7 is Licorice Pizza.
Oh, yeah, I already have Licorice Pizza. So what's number 6? I'm sorry.
Happening.
Happening, yes. So let's see. Of your 10 films, you just said that I was about to mention something. I don't remember what it was. Thoughts that tends to happen to me. Thoughts escape my head, you know. If I give them a split second to fly out of my ear, they will. Looking at your list, I have seen After Yang, French Dispatch, Licorice Pizza, Happening, Titane, Drive My Car, Power of the Dog, and Worst Person in the World. So I've seen 8 of them.
Yeah. I know that you have no interest in watching in catching Memoria,
Yeah.
but give the other one a try.
Yeah, I'm interested too. Compartment number 6. Okay. So I guess that wraps up this episode. In about half a year, we'll do 2025. I've already got my list of movies that I want to watch,
Nice.
and I'll submit them to Mario as I usually do, so he can say, "Hey, you forgot about this, 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 and this."
Yeah,
Maybe I'll get some last minute suggestions that I slot into the
cool.
list as well.
That's so good. I just gonna leave one or two that my personal favorite out so that he won't watch it, and when it come to the time on the top 10, he will be like, oh, that's a good pick, Mario. This is under under the radar. I should watch out.
So are you trying to bring about a future where we have no overlap?
Maybe.
It could
Um,
happen.
it could happen. I think two is actually a pretty good number that overlaps in this year. For it's it's a good year for movies.
Yeah, I would say so. You know what else I watch? Well, I don't know. We're closing in on 3 hours, so probably shouldn't draw it out anymore.
Right.
Um, but yeah, plenty of other good films from this year that neither of us listed, and lots of great films, I'm sure, in 2025, which we'll be talking
Yeah.
about in August of this year. So stick around for that.
All right. See you for now, guys. Hope you enjoy.
Bye bye.